Okay, so I had a debate with this guy, Vimoh, a few months back, I guess, about two things. One was veganism, where he completely dodged and didn't actually like properly answer whatever I was asking. Secondly, it was also about atheism, agnostic atheism, etc. So in this reaction, I have a few of my friends, and all of us are going to react to the debate I had, and basically point out what confusion is, you know, like how is Vimoh confused about philosophy of religion? How is like like it's not like we are saying he's wrong about everything he's saying, but generally like there is some basic philosophical confusion, um, which is why we are making this. So let's Adish is commenting and trolling in the meantime. Adish, don't get banned before you.
Start. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? YouTube Premium is free anyways.
Yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
so all we are going to do is we are going to play the video, pause wherever we think he made an error, and point out what the error is, why exactly is an error. That's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we can start. Yeah.
Wait. The
Oh,
theology point that you wanted to mention.
yeah. So the theology point is simple. So, yeah. So when you refer to yourself as an atheist, right? Do you mean that you believe the proposition that it is not the case that God exists?
I lack belief in the claim that God exists
Okay, I think we
because there is
should
no reason
stop
to believe
here
it.
for a second. Wait, that's not so. Yeah. Did anyone track what question I asked and what response he gave? Do you think that's a response to the question?
मैं बोलूं?
हाँ बोल.
हाँ. मतलब he's completely dodging the point. Uh, it was a simple binary question. I don't understand why there's any elaboration needed. Uh, yeah. For now, that's it.
Yeah, basically I just asked him if he believes the proposition God. It's not the case that God exists, and it's basically just a yes or no question. Yes, I believe the proposition. No, I don't believe that proposition. There is no other option here. So
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't answer the question, but I take it to be a no because he tried to say that he it's like he dodged the claim, but the dodged the question, but like the answer was sort of a no. It's no, I don't believe, like that's how I'm charitably interpreting whatever he's saying, but like he could just say no, I don't believe that proposition, right? But he didn't say that anyway, so that I count that as a dodge.
Okay. Nice. Start.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I
Okay.
asked you is, do you believe the proposition that it is not the case that God exists?
I am an agnostic atheist. My position is that I do not know if God exists.
Okay,
Therefore,
yeah,
I
I
lack
share the
belief
same
in the.
position. Yeah, can you pause? Yeah, that's dodge number two. I asked him if he believes the proposition it's not the case God exists, and he tells
He's
me,
still.
yeah, he's making a knowledge claim. He says, I don't know if God exists. Well, I didn't ask you if you know God exists. I asked you if you believe the proposition that it's not the case that God exists. So that's dodge number two. It's like it's a basic tracking failure. Like, um, I'm asking him if he believes something, and he is equivocating that with,
Yeah. More than a tracking failure, it seems that he doesn't understand the distinction between what he's saying and what the question was. Like
yeah,
totally different fields.
yeah. I mean, I didn't even ask him if he is an agnostic atheist. I'm not using any labels over here. I'm just asking him his attitude towards a proposition. And that
Mm.
proposition is that it is not the case that God exists. So, yeah, he is bringing up this agnostic atheist terminology. So we can go.
Mhm.
Therefore, I lack belief in the claim that God
Uh-huh.
exists.
Okay, so but when you say an atheist as used in the literature, I just take the atheist
What
to mean.
literature?
Yeah, I'm referring to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, where
Hmm.
atheism is defined
I
as
told you I'm an
an.
agnostic atheist.
Yeah, yes, but when you're saying agnostic and atheist, right? So those are two. So you're saying that.
No, it's a philosophical position.
Yeah, I
It's an
understand
actual
that.
philosophical position. The philosophical position is
Yeah, we
address that
should stop
only.
here. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. So what I'm trying to say is atheist.
Should I pause?
Yeah. You can rip this one like.
Okay, okay. So first of all, everyone clap for Aputa for not laughing.
I laughed right now.
अभी तो ठीक है. Like at the call, like
I controlled myself.
and after that using I understand what you're saying.
See, I'm being so nice to him, dude.
Yeah, like for real. I don't
Buddhist,
see why.
Buddhist agnostic atheist.
But yeah,
Bro,
Adish,
this guy looks like a Buddhist, bro. Look
dude.
at that face. Look at those clothes.
Anyway, like
Bro,
Adish, tell
check.
me why this is hilarious. Like, why are we laughing about him calling it a philosophical position?
Well, because in academic philosophy, it's not accepted and like it's not a widespread term because agnostic and atheist are terms that cannot coexist.
Hmm.
Like the propositions they express in literature uh, just cannot go together. They are P not P. They create a P and not P condition, a contradiction.
Yeah, so
So yeah.
yeah, just
So
just
it would
to.
just be
Mhm.
not clear to elaborate on, stuff like that. Like labeling it agnostic atheism just gives off, it's some sort of mixture or some something that has traits of both of them when it doesn't.
Hmm. Yeah, like just to like add a bit more to that, like if we pull up any academic resource like the SAP, like the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which I mentioned in this chat with him, or the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, both of which are peer-reviewed resources, which you can. Um, are you looking that article up?
I'll just open it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, if you look at either of those sources, you would find that, at least in the sense that philosophers of religion use the terms agnostic and atheist, atheism is defined as basically it's defined in relation to theism. So theism is the proposition, expresses the proposition that it is the case that God exists, or simply some god exists, like X god exists or whatever. So you would be a theist about God X if you believe that God X exists. That's what theism expresses. Atheism simply expresses that it expresses the negation of the proposition which is expressed by theism. So atheism simply means you believe, like an atheist is one who believes the proposition that it is not the case that God exists. That's how serious academic philosophers of religion use these terms, and there are reasons why it's better to use these terms, which we will get into maybe as we go along. But basically, agnostic atheism, gnostic theism, agnostic theism, these are terminologies which are used by like pop philosophy, or as I like to call it, pseudo philosophy people, who have no academic inclination or exposure, and they use these terms to kind of sound cool, but rather it just achieves the opposite. They end up looking like fools to someone who has the basic understanding of um, like philosophy. And the reason why it would be contradictory is because in the literature, agnosticism is basically construed as two things. Like one is the psychological state. So agnosticism simply is a psychological state of suspending judgment. So if there is some proposition, for example, God exists, then your attitude towards it is neither to affirm it nor to negate it. That is what agnosticism in the psychological sense means. And there is also an epistemological thesis which just says that, okay, so in the epistemic context there is a strong agnostic and there is a weak agnostic. The weak agnostic thinks that God is unknowable currently, but it may not be the case that it's impossible to know God. There is some, we could in the future arrive at knowledge about God anyway. So that would be the weak agnostic. The strong agnostic would say something like, God is unknown right now, and facts about God will remain unknown. It can never be known. It's unknowable. That's kind of the view strong agnostics express. So it's not clear which. I mean, at this point, I kind of know what he is trying to express, but it's not clear when someone prima facie uses the term agnostic atheist. It's not clear which sense they're using these terms.
There's also like this is the only mention of agnostic atheism in the SAP as in its entirety, just one mention.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
okay,
and
maybe a
as
second one.
Adish
Yeah,
likes to
one
call it.
mention and uh, so like here they've precisely mentioned the point as Aputa also the day before we talked to somebody holding these beliefs. Like they ultimately relied on saying that these terms provide utility, but here it is clearly established in the simplest of all languages. Like it's the simplest you can put it that it does not have the power to turn true belief into knowledge. So like it is not irrational, it's not illogical, but when you like it's basically adding superfluous terminology not relevant to philosophy and making it seem like it is actually providing more precision
Hmm.
in what the meaning is, etc.
Yeah, especially like, I mean, let's just unpack it. Like, there are two senses, right? In one sense of the term agnostic, it would be just suspending judgment. And there is another sense of the term agnostic, which is the epistemic thesis. Let's just take the first one. If we take the first one, it would be something like, uh, yeah, I don't have an attitude towards the proposition that God exists. Uh, Dude, what are you doing?
Huh?
Shh. Why? What?
Why are you converting
He was
from?
doing stocks.
Arey
He
yaar,
was
I
doing
saw
stocks.
no, I saw here na, that this guy gave 15 Hong Kong dollars just to ask this
Oh,
brilliant intellectual how to look at Russia-Ukraine war rationally.
What?
So I was seeing how much he
Huh?
donated, but it's only 10, sorry, it's only, well, I guess 157 is still a lot
yeah, it's a lot to
just to
ask.
ask a basic question to somebody who is not a specialist or something.
Yeah.
But okay,
But
chalo.
yeah, anyway, like coming back, if you look at the term agnostic in the psychological sense, where you just suspended judgment, then what does the term atheist mean? So, by atheist, do you mean that you believe it's not the case God exists, or do you just not have that belief? If you're just saying that you don't have a belief one way or the other, it's just like you could replace atheist with agnostic, and you would be an agnostic because both of those terms are essentially identical. Um, so it's just superfluous to call yourself an agnostic atheist if both the terms mean
Mm-hmm.
the same thing.
Yes.
But if you're using it in the sense which is expressed by, basically, if you're expressing the epistemic thesis where you're saying God is unknowable, then it's not clear to me what you mean by atheist. You say, like, this guy, he goes on to define atheist, which we can check. Like, I think we should just move ahead and see how he defines it,
Mm,
so that we can
true.
further upon it. Yeah. Theism in the literature, as in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, is
I'm an
defined
agnostic
as,
atheist. I'm not an atheist. I'm an agnostic atheist.
wait, the atheism is defined as. believing that the negation of the premise that God exists is what constitutes an atheist. But when you say you're an
I'm an
agnostic
agnostic
atheist,
atheist, Abuta. I'm
yeah,
an
so when
agnostic
you say
atheist.
an agnostic atheist,
Okay, so
yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that you're saying that
Buddhist
so
baby.
Buddhist babe, guys.
Bruh, what is bro smoking? Anyways,
Like,
anyways, let's continue
yeah,
a little
he's
bit more.
defining
that
atheism, and he's
is
like,
not the case that
he's
If you want to
defining atheism.
continue.
He's defining atheism, and bro is like, I'm not an atheist. Uh, did anyone ask? He's defining atheism, and he'll define agnosticism, and then he will show the contradiction. But no, you're interrupting him in the first 5 seconds, in the first 10 seconds, in the first 15 seconds. Okay.
yeah, I mean he just
Uh,
doesn't
uh,
want
uh,
to listen to the actual like
uh,
academic thing, right? But whatever, yeah.
yeah, he thinks he has attained nirvana or something because he's a Buddhist. Get it?
And you're
Uh,
also saying that you don't know if God exists, so that seems like a contradiction, right?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I lack belief in the claim that God exists. I'm not saying
Yes,
that
so
God does
that's
not exist.
compatible with what I said. Okay, so
I am
you
not.
aren't asserting that God. It's not the
Listen,
case
listen,
that God
listen,
exists.
listen. You want clarity? I'll say it one more time.
Hmm.
You are claiming. Suppose, are you a theist in this case?
No, I'm agnostic. I don't refer to myself as an agnostic.
Okay,
Agnostic
can you
atheist,
pause just a
I just
second?
refer to myself as.
hmm
Yeah, this is important. He asked me explicitly if I was a theist, and I explicitly told him that I'm not a theist. This point is important later. Uh, I'll call back to it. I just don't want to give
And yeah,
spoilers right now. As an agnostic.
Okay. So let me clarify. The claim that God exists is made by a theist. The reason I am an atheist is because I do not have enough information to come to any conclusion about that, and therefore I reject that claim. Does
Yeah,
that make
but
sense?
when you say reject, so there are two construals of reject, right? So you could either reject as in say that the proposition is false, or you can reject as in say that that you're not convinced by the proposition.
Yeah,
So
the
which one
second
is it?
one. The second one.
Okay, so you don't take it to be the case that the proposition is false, right?
No,
Okay, fine.
I've
Yeah,
said this for. I've been saying it for the last 5 minutes, man.
yeah, but it's not as clear as you
Yeah,
said it right now.
Yeah,
just
that's
So
one
because you
sec.
have been talking about a Stanford.
anybody who will watch this reaction, find the timestamp where he says that. Okay.
yeah. Just find a timestamp where he says, no, I don't. I've asked him 3 times by this point. Do you believe that proposition that it's not the case that God exists? He
Hmm.
could say no the first time, and I would move on with my, like, whatever I had in mind, which I'll tell later. Yeah. But yeah, he could just say no, and this entire, maybe like the previous 5 minutes of conversation, it would not have happened. If all he did was just say no, just that's how simple it was. But instead he just meandered about being agnostic atheist. I never asked him that. I asked him, I gave him a proposition. I asked his attitude towards that proposition. Instead he tells me something else which I didn't ask for. Yeah, we can go ahead.
Sure.
Dictionary definition that I don't even subscribe to.
I mean, it's the one that,
Yeah, this is where
What?
your internet got cut off.
yeah, this is
Your
where
audio,
my internet
your
cuts
audio
off, yeah.
disappeared, man.
So can you just skip to the part where I come back?
Abuda?
Wait.
I don't
Then
know what
some
happened to him.
after that some idiot comes in and asks some idiotic questions.
I
Anyway,
don't
I'll
think only one
remove
came in.
him from
Okay,
the
no,
screen
only
and
one.
move to the next person. Abuta, if you come back, I'll take you back.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think उसका mic mute था. किसी अजीब तरह का कुछ हो रहा था ये. Hagrid की. अरे Aputa is back. Hi.
Hey, I had a power cut on my end. Sorry for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we were just talking about like the definitions of atheism, agnosticism, and all that, right? So yeah. So I've just linked a source which is considered to be like an authoritative source in the domain
Where
of
have you
philosophy.
linked it?
It's in the private chat.
It's in the private chat.
Yeah. So
Plato, Stanford philosophy, and more specifically philosophy of religion. The term atheism is standardly used to refer to the proposition that God does not exist, or more broadly to the proposition that there are no gods. Okay, what about
yeah. Yeah, and there are reasons to. So if you're claiming that you are an agnostic atheist,
it?
there are reasons
you-
why in the domain of philosophy, when people use the term atheist,
Hmm.
we should be using atheism as the proposition that God does not exist, and not
No,
as the
Laputa,
yeah,
you're
not
talking
as
to
the
me. You're talking to me and not talking to Stanford University. If you're talking to
well,
me,
this is
talk about what I think. Na?
yeah. So what I'm saying is just making a normative statement, right? So there are reasons why preferring a certain definition would lead to certain problems downstream, right? So that case is made in
What
that article.
problems will it lead to? If I say I'm an
Yeah,
agnostic
that
atheist,
yeah,
if I say
that
listen,
case.
this is a
Hmm.
recurring problem with you. You can't shut the fuck up at the right time.
Yeah, I
Listen,
understand your question. That's why
listen.
Guys, irony check.
answering
Yeah,
beforehand.
you can still stop talking. Let me finish my sentence, right?
I mean, at this point, I think
I'm
he has
saying if I
interrupted
say
me like 3 times when he told me that I'm an agnostic atheist. I'm an agnostic atheist. When I didn't even ask, I'm reading out the definitions.
I mean, are we including like the initial part of the conversation? Like, no, right?
No, like you mean the
Yeah,
veganism part? We are not including that.
yeah, yeah.
No. So
But yeah,
yeah, if
three
you
times already.
yeah, I'm not including that because that deserves like a separate thing of its own because it just yeah, but yeah, for this particular one, we are not including that. Yeah, but yeah, Adish, you can play. Adesh.
Sorry, my mic was muted. I was asking, does he let you explain further down the video as to what the problems are?
No, you can. I mean,
Okay.
I tried.
So what? Yeah, I think we should point out that the problems of using definitions that are not the same as conventional ones in public,
Yeah.
especially in, you know, heavily debated topics like this.
Hmm.
What happens is that if I go and publicly say I'm an atheist, right? And if I do not mean that I am someone who does not believe uh, in the proposition, I am someone who believes in the proposition God does not exist, then that will lead to misinterpretations, confusions, multiple problems, and like lack of clarity also because people will not know what you mean because you are not following what is the conventional definition. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what he's even trying to say. You are not talking to Stanford. That's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm not talking to Stanford University. I'm talking. I didn't even link a Stanford uni. I mean, this is whatever. But
I think he doesn't understand the difference between a university website and a directory. But okay.
yeah, but
Yeah, I would be quite fortunate.
but
Yeah.
basically, like the I mean, what you've highlighted is like a more pragmatic problem, which I think is equally as important as like just the philosophical nitpick.
No,
But
considering that he is spouting this
mm-hmm.
nonsense on social media and he has nearly 3 to 4 thousand followers,
Yeah,
it's a big issue.
yeah,
Considering
of course,
he's spreading that and people are believing him,
yeah,
etc.
and paying him for that.
Mm.
Yeah, anyway, but basically like that's a pragmatic thing which I think is like very important, but like the philosophical nitpick simply is that if you use atheist just to mean lack of belief, then there are so many entities in the world which lack a belief in a god. For example, babies. I am not convinced babies uh, have a belief in God. They lack
Uh,
beliefs. Dogs, I don't think they have a belief that God exists. So they lack the belief. Um, there are many people.
understood. I understood. Yes.
Yeah,
Animals, etc.
yeah. Rocks don't. I mean, rocks don't even have minds. Like, forget about propositional attitudes. Um, so yeah, rocks don't have. The rocks lack the belief. So are rocks, dogs, and babies atheists in virtue of them lacking beliefs? Because that's how atheism is supposed to be defined by this guy. He thinks atheism is lacking belief. Then all these entities also lack beliefs. So are they all atheists?
Yeah.
That's one of the and this is not like this is not a critique that I'm bringing up. This critique is there in the SCP article. This has been brought up
Uh-huh.
by academic philosophers. I'm not coming up with some critique of my own. These are well established critiques. I don't have to
Yes.
reinvent the wheel for this.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like he's asking about "Hey, you're talking to me and not like he's completely missing the point that you're not asking you know what his personal okay not personal like semi non-academic definition is. The critique is about the non-academic definition. The complete critique is about the definition. And then when you say that no, my definition is my definition, what?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't take, like, I'm not saying that he's wrong about something when he uses this definition. All I'm saying is, um, I don't know about his norms, but assuming he has some kind of a norm that he wants to be very clear and coherent when he is talking to an audience, if that is one of his goals, then it needs to be the case that he should use terminology which is conventional and is accepted within the domain of philosophy, so that he can actually clearly put down his views. Now, if like I at this point in the conversation, I don't know what his views are. Like, maybe I know right now, but when I'm talking to him, I don't know what he means by agnostic atheist. So that's, yeah, we'll probably get to that.
Say I'm an agnostic atheist and you want to have a conversation with me, there is no need to go to Stanford. You can simply address what I think.
Wait, what do you mean
Go
by
on.
there's no need to go to Stanford?
If you are going to subscribe to a definition of atheism that I do not subscribe to, then you're not
Yeah,
having a conversation with me about my views, right?
so what I'm trying to do is trying to raise a critique of using a particular definition to describe your views.
Irrelevant. This definition is my definition. You're talking to
See,
me.
like, this is utterly ridiculous. Like, because if I put on a poster, women shouldn't have rights, and then when somebody asks me, I further clarify later on that by women I mean some rocks or stones or leaves or plants or whatever. Like, it's just utterly ridiculous saying that it's my definition.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's a
need to,
proprietary definition, and definitely not a definition that
huh,
academic philosophers use.
yeah, especially
And
when you're talking publicly, like you need to subscribe to some commonly used definitions. I mean, of course, people have inside jokes, etc., in their circles, and certain words may like de facto lead to some other inference in amongst them that they'll understand what they're supposed to mean. But that's not the case in public. Like you need to think about what the inference will be. You cannot just say it's
yeah,
my definition.
yeah, and I suspect that if you take a survey of people and you give them these words, like if you ask them, what do you mean, or like what does the word atheist mean to you? Um, I think, like, again, I don't have data for this, but I lean towards the hypothesis that they would say that atheism means an atheist is someone who believes that God doesn't exist. Like, if you ask, I mean,
Yeah.
people might not actually answer the question directly, um, because people don't are terrible at answering questions, just like Vimoh is. But
Yeah, but
if you lead
see,
them
so
properly, they'll probably say that an atheist doesn't believe
so
that.
like completely anecdotal, but yeah, if you tell to a common person you're atheist, to a theist, to a normal theist, the first question is, where's the evidence that he doesn't exist? Which
Right.
implies, like, which would imply that they think that you assert the proposition that he does not exist.
Yeah.
But if you clarify yourself as an agnostic, it will clearly state that you don't have evidence, you just reject it on the basis of lack of evidence.
Yeah, or
Uh,
yeah, or rejected based on something else. Like, you could, like, for
yeah,
instance, you could, yeah, I'll get to that, but like you could be a theist about, you could be an atheist about some gods while being
yeah,
agnostic about some other gods, while being a theist about some other gods. So, like, calling yourself an atheist is sort of like a completely vague classification.
Uh, I'd like to add to what you said in the beginning that there are no statistics. We have rough statistics that may not be as precise. Like we have data from the Pew Research Center telephone surveys conducted 2019 around, where basically they in the US they interviewed, like they had a sample size of I think a few thousand or something, and like 81% said they are an atheist, and here atheist was meant to signify that they do not believe in a god. Like so, uh,
Wait, they do not believe in a
that's
god, as in they believe.
or a higher power. Yeah, so I think that roughly translates to they do not believe God exists. So I think the
Yeah,
vast majority of
they could
atheists
be
would
a.
identify with that term.
Actually, yeah, again, it runs into the same problem, right? When you say don't believe in a god exists, they could it is compatible with two things. It is compatible with them believing god doesn't exist, or just being in a psychological state of suspending judgment, which is agnostic. So it's
What's the
Actually,
option?
there is this kind of thing is very common. So they went into the data. I'll try pulling it up on here. 1 second. They've gone a lot into the data and they've gotten some pretty precise results. 1 second.
Okay, so like, did they present
Yeah,
agnostic as
basically,
an option in the survey?
no, no, no. They've expressed propositions.
Oh,
So yeah, basically it was a 4,700 US adult study. So out of the 80% that say they do not believe in, they believe in a god. 1 second. So the 19% that say that they do not believe in a god, uh, like there's further down, there's clarification on their propositions, that what they exactly mean. 1 second. I'll share the other one too.
okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out where
you could
they've,
probably go to the methodology and
yeah,
God, that's just right in the Bible.
okay, I
Oh
think we'll
God,
have to
that's
deviate
like,
a lot to go into
yeah,
all of this stuff. But like considering the
yeah.
title, they do actually specify it, and it seems to be like because they quoted the study here, it seems to be that they think they believe in the proposition that God does not exist. Yeah,
you
I
could
think you
probably
can
do
just
a
pull.
control F doesn't exist, something like
Oh,
that.
huh.
I mean, it's multi-page. I don't think Control F would work for all 5 pages, but yeah,
That's true.
No matches in this
yeah,
page.
it's very complicated. We'd have to like look into it separately or later at some point. But yeah,
Oh, there is something here.
Uh,
okay.
Very few others say God does not determine anything or does not exist.
this is in terms of as in how they impact life and big things. And there should be something afterwards. You can edit this, right? The
Yeah, yeah,
time lag.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, then it's fine. I suppose we can do that unless somebody here is running out of time. No other
Okay.
mention, but methodology, let's see. they do have a agnostic separately here, but I mean, uh, still, like, what do they mean exactly by the terms?
I mean, this itself is kind of a limitation of the study because it's not clear what proposition they're talking about.
Yeah,
Like
they've
I
not
think
specified it.
the new atheist movement in America, like it caused confusion, this exact confusion about agnostic atheism, I think. So
Mm, I,
there's like some problem. Did they specify the premises? Like because most people are just called atheists now because they think it means that due to the new atheist movement.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is that um, it's not like when you say I'm an atheist in the sense that I lack the belief that God exists. It's not clear to me what you mean. Um, you could, I mean, those are compatible with two incompatible propositions. That is compatible with, and by compatible I mean like it can be replaced by, like for example, lacking belief can be replaced by believing the negation, and lacking belief can be replaced by just not having any attitude towards that proposition. So but both of those replacements are themselves contradictory. Like you can't have a propositional attitude and not have a propositional attitude. So that's why it's not clear what you mean when you say you lack the belief. That is the thrust of the thing here, and presumably he has a norm where he wants to be as clear and coherent as possible. um, and on that norm it would make sense to use the term agnostic as defined in the literature, because that's the most coherent um, usage of the term and definition that we know of. Anyway, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I had certain interruptions. My bad. Yeah, but I think it's in similar equal division because here they've said 8.8 percentage points and a 9.2 percentage point, and like it adds up to roughly 18%, which is the amount they said do believe in some kind of higher power, like other than some sort of a well-established God,
Hmm.
like well-established religions. So I don't think they've defined it properly. You should probably cut this part out if you can.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Anyway,
What do you mean
yeah.
it's irrelevant?
No, no,
I'm,
go
I'm
ahead,
just
go ahead.
saying that if you're using a particular definition, it's
Hmm.
going to, yeah, so there are like problems with using a particular definition a certain way.
No, there is no
And that
problem.
case,
If the goal is to talk to me,
mhm.
use the definition that I said I believe in. Simple. It's not rocket
Okay,
science.
can you pause a second?
Yeah, you're not
It's
tracking.
it's funny he says believing in definition. Like I don't take definitions to be propositional.
Propositions.
Like you can't believe in a proposition. You can't believe in a definition. Like I have no idea what that means. You can use a particular definition as in you when you utter some word, like it's a string of characters. You can reduce it down to a string of characters, and definitions in my view are just another set of a string of characters which can be replaced instead of the antecedent string of characters, and in the hopes that your interlocutor will find some kind of connection to this other string of characters to some concept that you're trying to get into their head. That's all I take a definition to be. So if you say something like definition of man is well, I shouldn't get into that. Or you could say something like, um, the definition of a tree is something like a tall plant which is covered with a hard bark or something like that. Then, whenever you use the term tree, you can simply replace this other string of characters that I just uttered, and it will convey the same concept to the other person that you're trying to convey it to. That's all I take a definition to be. I don't take them to be like propositional. So that's why I think you can't be wrong about definitions, because definitions themselves are not propositional. But you could be wrong in the sense that you're not using them in a conventional way. And well, you might not care about whether it is a conventional usage or not. That's completely fine, but that depends on your goal. If your goal is to be clear and coherent, then it's better to use a conventional definition. If you want to be all wishy-washy such that nobody understands what you're trying to say, go for it. I don't care.
Inside circles and like use whatever definitions, but if again your goal is to be clear, you in public circles you have to use conventional definitions.
Yeah. And especially like when you're talking about something like philosophy of religion, which is an established academic field, you're talking about like academic philosophy, might as well use academic definitions. Yeah, I mean, I think we can go ahead. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you're using a
No, the
particular
problem is that
definition-
I'm not fitting your script.
No, the problem is that if you're using a term, right, and you mean something else by the term.
No, I don't.
there
I
are-
told you very clearly what I mean by it.
Yeah,
Agnostic
so when-
atheism is a valid philosophical position.
it's not valid.
If you want to,
He keeps saying this, dude. I keep laughing at it, but what can I do?
Chalo.
talk about it.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that there is a problem with using certain terms in different ways, and that case
I'm
is
not
being
using
made
it
in
in
that
different
argument.
ways. I am that. See, here's the thing.
Yeah,
The reason you
dude,
might
I
have a
don't know.
problem with, listen, the reason you might have a problem with me using agnostic atheism as my position is because every argument that you have prepared deals with something else, which is this other definition of atheism, which is an actual claim about the non-existence of God. You are prepared for that conversation. You're not prepared for this conversation, and therefore you are desperately trying to get
No,
me to say
well,
the
I'm
thing
not
that you
trying
need
to
me to
make an
say,
argument
so
anyway.
that your script continues to work.
No, I'm not. I have. Okay,
Trying to
just
make an
one sec,
argument
one
yet, I'm
sec.
just-
Do you guys have any idea what he's talking? I have no idea what he's talking about. Like
Okay, so,
zero
like-
idea.
I think he starts off correctly. He says that like you have prepared for something else, but you have prepared for something else. That's the part where he's right. You have prepared for a critique of the definition. But other than that, he's just going in. I don't know. He's like taking a bike to the moon. I don't know what
I
he's
mean,
doing.
the way he's using script in is such a way that he has thus prepared entire multiple pages worth of notes of arguments and refutations for Vimoh, but like he's not at that intellectual level that people will prepare. Like, let's just be honest, he isn't.
Yeah, I mean, after this
Like-
conversation, it's definitely very clear that like nobody who is serious about philosophy is going to take this guy seriously, because he just has no idea what he's talking about. He's talking out of his ass.
Yeah, but also another problem is that he's using that you have prepared as a critique. It's a meta critique, but it's somehow bad to prepare when you are going to have a conversation, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean,
So you should just get in and talk out of your ass every time you want to have a conversation.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like when he says,
I think he
have a
means that he is not worth enough to be talked to while being prepared.
Why are you preparing for me, bro?
I'm too stupid, Raj.
Anyways, if anyone has anything to add.
Yeah. I mean, when he says script, I think at this point he's probably assuming that I'm a theist, and I'm trying to argue for theism, but I'm trying to like poke holes into like atheism, but that's like diametrically opposite to what I'm trying to do, which I'll tell explicitly what
I,
I'm trying to do. Like
okay, no. That starts, I think, after this when you introduce another argument which leads to the final thing.
Oh,
What is it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's not jump the
like
gun. Let's just
the most ridiculous thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Trying to get clarity on the entire thing before even making that argument.
It's very clear. I am an agnostic atheist. Do you need a
Yeah,
definition
so
again?
yeah, so the reason I'm trying to mention is because I want to ask you about global atheism versus local atheism. So if you take the proper if you're using the definition in a different term, so what I'm trying to say is if you're using atheism as a proposition, so assuming that you agree and you use the term atheism to mean that it's a proposition that negates the proposition that God exists, then I'm just going to ask you whether you are a local atheist or whether you're a global atheist, or are you agnostic about all gods?
I haven't seen this, and I can bet that he doesn't know what that means.
Oh, the spicy
I'm
part is
agnostic
here.
about all
The
gods.
spicy part is here.
Okay, so
No, see, he didn't even mention the term. Actually, Aputa clarified accidentally. He shouldn't have. That was bad. Other, he could have made Vimoh look like a fool here.
Oh, you
I
mean
mean, I
agnostic
don't
about
think.
all gods?
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I think he got a rough idea with
Oh, I
basic,
see what you mean.
basic common sense. I mean, at least
No,
he
but
has
yeah,
something.
I think Aputa wasn't aiming to make him look like a fool. That's why he clarified.
Should have.
He was trying to be charitable.
At this stage, you should make the other person look like a fool, considering he's been interrupted 15 times in a
Yeah.
conversation of 10 minutes.
And spammed with the statement that agnostic atheism is a philosophical
Uh,
position. Anyone who says
4 times.
that deserves to be made to look like a fool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, we
do
can.
you think, for instance, the Christian God, right? Do you think there is a contradiction entailed by the existence of the Christian God?
Define God.
What do you mean, like
You are assuming I know what you mean by Christian God. I've
yeah,
talked to Christians and everyone has a different definition. So give me your definition of the Christian
yeah.
God.
So I mean, I don't know what the definition is going to be because I'm not a Christian. So is it going to be
So
what they
if
generally
there is a
mean?
thing that you don't have a definition for and I don't have a definition for because
Wait,
it's not
I'm
going to be
trying to give him something, right? And he interrupts me.
Hmm.
So like yeah, I'm giving him some kind of like sufficient conditions, necessary conditions, something like that, to like convey the concept to him, and instead of just listening, he just tells me like he just basically rambles.
Chalo. He's repeating the same thing again, anyways.
what are we talking about really?
Yeah, we're just talking about some being that is mentioned with some propositions and traits attributed to that being, like omnipresence, omnibenevolence, not omnipresence,
So give me a
omnibenevolence.
definition, na? Give me a definition of God and we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's just say that this particular being has the following three properties, which is omnibenevolence, omnipotence, and omniscience. Do you think that entails a contradiction?
Is there any evidence of such a being existing?
Okay, wait, that's another dodge.
That's tangential to the question.
That's not a dodge. He's not understanding uh basic, like, he doesn't understand what a contradiction means, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know why
yeah.
he's
No.
jumping to, like, if there is a contradiction, like you asked whether there is a contradiction or not, like, does he think there is or not? If there was a contradiction, then that would de facto mean such a God does not exist.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how, already having the premise that God does not exist or
No.
God
This
exists,
this
evidence
is
of
what
it,
this
that
is
is
what
just
will
not,
happen. So
like,
he will confuse this. He'll just, okay, no, I should not spoil, but yeah, he will say something about
but
this.
anyways, he totally completely doesn't get the point. I'm not going to say it's a dodge. He doesn't get it. He's stupid.
This is severe
No, it's very
comprehension issues.
essential to the
Okay.
question because I'm only interested in the truth of the matter, not in logical models. Because you can create logical models to support almost anything. It doesn't matter if that thing cannot be demonstrated to be true.
Wait, so my question was whether there was a contradiction entailed. So is that a yes or is that a no?
The answer is I don't even give a flying fuck if it's a contradiction or not. The answer is
You
that
tell me,
is this
is that a
demonstrable?
is that a
Yeah,
dodge
so
or
the
no?
Yeah,
Again,
this
that's
seems
what
to
I
be.
said. Again, he said exactly what you said. That he doesn't care about. He said he only cares about the truth of the proposition, and then he said that I don't care about logical models. How would you derive truth values? Like,
Yeah, I have no idea how
Uh,
you're going to get the truth value of like a complex proposition without
Without any
actually
derivation.
without any
no,
rule,
like
any logical connectives, no rules of inference. If you don't have any quote unquote model, I have no idea how you're going to get the truth value of that
I
proposition.
think he just thinks that everything requires evidence. Like, prima facie, nothing can be stated. We,
I mean,
everything we need.
I don't think the average, even the most average person thinks proof by contradiction, like it like for even for the most average person in daily life, they will use proof by contradiction. Like it does not
Again,
exist.
so like if we can say, I think proof by
You
contradiction
use
is
it.
introduced in eighth grade, 10th, 8th, 9th maybe. But yeah,
Yeah, it is used
maybe
I
we
mean,
skip
extensively
that
in
part.
geometry proofs.
dude, not even in just leave that. Just in daily life, you'll use it. If you went to the school with your water bottle and you came back in your car, you don't have your bottle of water at home. That means it is either in the school or the car. Like so, if it's not in the school, then you'll find it in your car. You are getting proof by using proof by contradiction in places such as this. Because if it is not in your car and if it's not in your school, then where is the bottle? Like you use
I
basic
mean,
stuff like this daily.
if you find the bottle simply at home, that's just that either you either the bottle isn't at home or you didn't bring the bottle, right? That's how your parents interrogate you. So
Bruh.
बोतल घर पे कैसे है? Yeah,
Chalo.
simple.
Yeah, but I mean it's pretty basic. Like rules of logic are used very often.
Yeah.
Reason, well, I think you should give a fuck about it because if there is a contradiction entailed, then that being is logically impossible. So you don't have to
I
have
don't
any
give a
evidence.
flying fuck. Can this be demonstrated?
Yeah, this is a demonstration. So if you can
No,
demonstrate
no,
to
no.
the
It's a
that the
demonstration of a
being,
logical model.
yeah, if the being
If
is
I say the
logically
universe was
impossible,
created by a, if I say the universe was created by a winged pink hippopotamus, and that being has these many qualities, and I say there is no logical contradiction in my model, it is no more acceptable than your God definition. It doesn't matter.
wait, that's I mean, I don't see how that follows. But what I'm trying to
It
say is,
follows because what you have given me is an abstraction, and I'm not interested in it. I'm asking if
yeah.
there is
So
any
wait,
demonstrable point about this.
yeah. So the demonstration is that if such a being is logically impossible, then that entails that the being does not exist because, yeah, unless you're a dial atheist,
Unless you're a
a person who believes in true contradictions.
I already made my position clear on this. You can have
That just
logical
okay.
models
Wait,
that
wait,
are
wait.
I mean, I cannot be sure about this, but I think he thinks dialetheism is a position in regards
Yes,
to
yes,
philosophy of
yes.
religion.
Yes, dialectism is
It has
Dude,
an
third
atheism in
fundamental.
it.
I'm like, I'm like
Atheism.
90% sure.
But I'm 90% sure that that term just flew right up.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
सीधा ऊपर से
हाँ
निकल गया.
Yeah, no, but yeah. So he's saying that logical model. So he basically says that what you're asserting is if a logical model of a god does not entail a contradiction, then it exists. And
Yeah,
you're stating the exact opposite.
yeah. Just diametrically. In fact, I'm stating the negation of that.
Yeah,
I'm not even saying that like it's possible. I'm saying it's impossible if there is a contradiction, because that's just what impossible means. Impossible means there is a contradiction.
Yeah, so he's
So
like,
let's continue.
Logically consistent, and those things may still be impossible, may still be not there, not really existing, right?
Wait,
Is it
but
are you saying that just because a model is logically consistent, the thing it is
No.
describing is real?
No. What I'm
Bas,
saying is the
that's all.
opposite.
That's
I'm
all.
Yeah, see, here he uses the point of it being real. So I think he's not understanding.
yeah,
Like he has lack of basic
Okay.
comprehension. He thinks you are arguing for.
yeah, he thinks that I'm saying if this God is possible, then this God exists. I mean, that is just like that's a stupid inference even by Christian standards. Like there are.
guys, I have a
Hmm?
theory. He's
I
chat
mean, no,
GPT
no, no, no,
in
no.
beta. He's chat GPT in beta. He cannot understand, so he gives out an answer out of panic. Okay, he's chat
No,
GPT beta.
he's like, he's genuinely, I think, at this point, thinking that you're arguing for rather than against.
Yeah, and like this
Like
gets
he's
better.
thinking, he thinks problem of evil is an argument for.
It get better. It gets better. Just play and
Way,
you'll
way
Uh,
find.
better.
Yeah,
saying
way
if
way better.
I'm saying if the model is logically inconsistent, meaning that it entails a logical contradiction, then that particular being does not exist.
I don't have a huge disagreement with that, but again, I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in what you can demonstrate.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say, right? You should be interested in it, because
No,
if
no,
you can
no, no,
show
no, no,
that
no,
there
no,
is
no,
a
no, 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 no.
contradiction.
Don't tell me what I should be interested in, not interested in.
Wait,
Give me a
yeah, you
demonstration.
aren't even, I mean, you're not letting me finish, right? So what I'm trying to say is
Okay,
if,
ठीक है. Sorry, finish.
yeah, if there is a logical contradiction that is entailed by
Look at the
affirming
smug
that there
face.
is a
He's like he
particular
got
being
it,
that
dude.
is omniscient.
Okay, so
Okay.
like first, everyone clip that. Na. Someone make it into a track.
Bruh.
No.
You know,
And
Yashmeet can do that.
and like and everyone clap for him because he allowed Aputa to speak for the first time because he was thirsty. But like, okay, he allowed the first time for him to talk.
Wait, look at this panel though. Damn. Chalo, koi nahi. Start.
Omniscient, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent. And you also affirm the existence of evil, which is I'm running the classical problem of
Okay,
evil.
yeah.
So what I'm trying to
Just pause here. This point is very important for the last part of the video. Okay, if you
Yeah, there are two very important points. One, I explicitly mention that I'm not a Christian. Secondly, I explicitly mention that I am running the classical problem of evil, also called the logical problem of evil. You'll find out why this is irrelevant.
oh,
to say is
Aputa,
if you
Aputa,
affirm those
we
four
are talking
propositions,
completely in. हम लोग हवा में बातें कर रहे हैं.
yeah, if you're
हवा में बातें कर रहे हैं.
affirming
Completely
those
हवा
four
में बातें कर रहे हैं.
propositions, then that entails a contradiction. That's
You
what I'm
have
trying to say.
you have memorized a lot of things and you're very eager to spout them on the live stream because that's what your script says.
I'm not
I'm
interested in
telling
the
you
meta.
that unless you can demonstrate any of this crap, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by demonstration if not like a logical contradiction in this particular case?
I told you, a logically consistent model is nothing.
I'm not talking
because
about
I
a
can create
consistent
a
model,
logically.
so that's just tangential.
No, it's not tangential. You're talking about a logical model, and you're asking me to say.
No,
that
I
this is
asked him what
inconsistent, right?
demonstration means.
Which leads me to conclude.
He's not explaining what he means by demonstration, if
okay,
not
he's
a logical model of
comprehending the opposite thing. So you'd have again. So Aputa, to make him understand the argument, you would have to argue for Christianity so that he understands how it doesn't work. Okay, how local atheism works. Okay, just consider his beliefs. Okay,
You
his definition.
that there is a logical model out there that is consistent according to you. Am I right?
No.
You don't think there is any logically consistent model for God?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say specifically about this particular model.
See, again, you have a script to which you are trying desperately to stick.
I'm not
And I
interested
have-
in the meta.
What?
I'm not interested in a conversation about the conversation.
Yeah, and I am not interested.
See, in places like this, you could have
No, let it play.
repeated.
Okay, he
you could
tries
have
to make
repeated
an
by
epic
saying
burn.
meta.
Huh?
You are trying to make him understand. You should have just said meta again. You explained what meta means.
No. Just go a bit back and see
No, dude, the
how
thing
badly
is,
he tries to roast him. Just
no, the thing is, sure, everybody can't know anything. There are people who learn things. You can learn things always. Everybody's learning always, right? But the thing is, when you make yourself look like a master who knows all, and you humiliate the person who's trying to teach you, explain things to you, and like, I don't think you should expect to be treated with respect or being taught rather than being uh, shown as a stupid person and like uh, showing how much you lack knowledge on the subject. Like he basically knows
okay.
nothing. He doesn't know what dialechism
Yeah.
is, but like dialechism is very basic. He does not know what meta means, and he's not even familiar with the SCP. Like if you're not familiar with the SCP and you say you know about some certain philosophical topic, it's not possible because like that is the Wikipedia of philosophy
I
essentially.
mean, Wikipedia of it.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't
I,
call it the
I
Wikipedia
It
of
is the
it.
it is the
PubMed.
largest
It's the PubMed of
knowledge.
is the
No,
PubMed of
I
philosophy.
think Wikipedia makes more sense because it's the largest for philosophy, the most
but
precise
yeah,
tool.
in terms
Overall,
of
Wikipedia is.
respect,
Uh,
in terms of respect, it's nowhere.
Yeah,
Like
in terms of
Wikipedia's
yeah,
uh,
respect
uh,
is
uh,
in
of
terms of
course.
respect and
No,
academic
I was just
acceptance, it's closer to like NCBI or PubMed or
I was
whatever.
just like showing the analogousness
Yeah.
of them.
yeah, yes.
Like
Okay, just go back a bit and see the roast. Vimoh's
Okay.
roast. Yeah,
that's
just a few seconds when he says I am not interested in the meta. Just play from there.
an omnibenevolent, not like a logical account is. But what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say specifically about this particular model,
See, again, you have a script to which you are trying desperately to stick.
I'm
And
not
I have
interested in the meta.
what?
I'm not interested in a conversation about the conversation.
Yeah, and I am not interested in the conversation at all unless you can
Exact.
demonstrate something.
Yeah, so the demonstration is
Roasted,
that
guys.
if you affirm four propositions, which is existence of evil, and
Can
the
you
being,
okay, define, like, you already gave me a definition of God, right? So describe evil.
yeah, so I just take evil to mean things that I don't prefer as a subjectivist. Yeah, wait, hold on.
So
Uh,
I think this is where I genuinely made a mistake because
you should have gone with immoral.
no, like even immoral, like even if I say immoral, he's going to ask me what I mean by immoral, right? But
I suppose.
the mistake I made was to even give him my concept of evil, because
Yeah.
evil is like everyone has their own like I think most people have a concept of evil of themselves. Like if I ask this guy, is gang raping a baby evil, I don't think this guy will say I don't know. He will say yes. So he
Hmm.
has some concept of evil. Like yeah.
You should have just asked him whatever you take evil to be.
Yeah, what I should just say, I should just tell say whatever you mean by evil, like whatever your concept of evil is. Like people have different concepts of it. I just mean whatever concept you mean, right? So that I think that is
No,
genuinely a mistake on my part.
why I said you should have said immoral is because then when he asked what immoral is, you could have just said whatever you take moral to be, because there has to be some immoral thing. Like unless he's a nihilist, moral nihilist, he would have some immoral thing, and you can just draw an analogy from there, etc. Whatever.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
he will take
also
evil
it
to be some
can.
religious term, na? Like he will
Yeah.
take evil to be, oh, it's something God wouldn't like, something like that.
Yeah.
So, it
Yeah.
would be more precise.
Yeah,
Say
and if
moral.
he comes out as a moral nihilist, it would be funnier.
I could just get him to like bite so many bullets.
Yeah.
You could actually get him to bite a bullet because, like a real bullet. He's a nihilist. Why would he care? Like even moral nihilists, like they can't argue against you shooting them.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
मुझे साग अच्छा नहीं लगता. Is साग evil?
No, that's not what I'm. Okay, yeah.
So
Hold on. Yeah, this is some. I mean, I made a mistake, but this guy just makes it better. Like when I say evil, I just mean something I don't prefer. Then he's like, मुझे साग अच्छा नहीं लगता. Does that make it evil? Like, no. When I say evil, I mean that I don't prefer it. But when I say I don't prefer it, I don't necessarily mean that it is evil.
Yeah, exactly. I think he doesn't understand that P implies Q doesn't mean Q implies P, but whatever. The concept of bivalence is unknown to him.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's elusive to him.
exactly.
Certain moral propositions.
Okay. So give me an example of a moral proposition that you think is absolutely evil.
Yeah, I just take it to mean that someone who pays for an Holocaust is absolutely evil.
Someone who?
Someone who pays for the Holocaust of a billion beings is absolutely evil in my view.
Okay. What about okay, you brought it back to veganism, which you are not going to talk about. Which we are not going to talk about. But
Not gonna talk
why would
about
you call
because
that
he's gonna
evil?
he
What
bit a
is like
huge bullet.
Uh-huh. That's understandable. His IQ is demonstrated.
Yeah, go ahead.
how do you describe evil? What is the definition of evil?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just don't
You gave me an
prefer.
example of evil.
No, I
What is
gave
evil?
him a very
Yeah,
clear
I told you.
definition.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, wait,
Yeah.
that already, right? So there is a moral proposition, and that's what I don't have a preference for
What
it.
is
So,
evil?
yeah, anything that I have a preference against.
So if someone really liked doing something,
With regards to moral preference,
yeah,
moral
sure,
propositions, yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Would that not be evil for them? Is this subjective?
I mean, I don't know what it means for it to be evil for them.
So you're saying that a certain thing that you consider immoral is evil only for you, or is it evil absolutely?
What does it mean for something to be evil absolutely?
Dude, you are the one who started the conversation. I'm
What do
asking
you
you
You're
a question
asking me a
about your
question, right?
definition.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
asking you what
I
does
think
it
we're running into
mean?
the same problem. Anything that does not fit inside your script is beyond your understanding.
Yeah, again,
But
this is
thank you,
like a,
Aputa. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Chalo, bye
Sure.
bye.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can
I'll
we
pause
pause,
there.
pause, 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 pause?
Also, I'd like to say one thing.
Yeah.
When he says you started a conversation, like, it doesn't matter who starts a conversation. Like, whatever you say, if you are unclear in it, you can't just say that you started the conversation. You should know every single permutation of what the terms could mean, what the combinations of arguments are, etc. Like, that's what he's trying to say. I don't know what he's even trying to say. He's just bringing up random stuff. He just wants an excuse to kick you off his stream and make his retarded worshippers think that he's not retarded.
No, but it's
Yeah, but
yeah, go ahead. Fine. Yeah.
yeah, like in the end, he said again that if you say something out of the script, you don't know it. Now if I ask you that this apple, how many apples does this apple tree have, and you answer 53 bananas, I obviously wouldn't have an answer to that question because I had
I mean,
because
it's not
your
a question.
answer.
You said 53 bananas, right? So,
No, I asked how many apples are there in this apple tree, and you answer 53 bananas. So,
So I think what
um,
Fine's trying to say is that you would be astounded, like
yeah,
surprised,
you wouldn't
astonished.
have a
Uh,
response. Come back to that. Like,
yeah,
you'd be like, what the
exactly.
fuck?
you wouldn't be prepared to a ridiculous answer. Okay,
Should I
ridiculous
get the
and incorrect.
surprise?
Completely.
No, no, no. Hold
No,
on,
no,
hold
continue,
on.
continue.
No, no, no. Don't change the like tracker
Yeah.
anywhere. But like, yeah, the point is, um, when he says something like when like if there is someone who really likes like maybe killing someone, murdering someone, something like that, he asks me if it is um what what did he exactly ask me? Did he ask me if it was not evil for them? Is that what he asked me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he asked me if it was not evil for them. The thing is, if evil just means that, like, if evil means if I prefer it, then no, I don't prefer it. But if evil means that they prefer it, then yes, it does mean that they prefer. Like for example, if someone really likes it, someone really likes murdering people, and if evil is just indexed to my moral norms, then it would be evil regardless of whether they prefer it or not, because the indexing is done to me. But if you index that proposition to the preferences of the murderer, does the murderer prefer it? Yeah, in that sense it's not evil. But in that case, evil just means that the murderer prefers it. So when we say murder is not evil, and all we mean is murder is not it's not desired against by the murderer, which is trivially true. Like that's just what we mean by it. But if by murder is evil we mean something like murder is not desired by me, then of course that is trivially true too. Like it just depends on who is it indexed to, and whether it's true or false. Yeah.
Again, now time for the best part.
Yeah, time for the best part.
Should I skip
Yeah.
something
No,
or
no, just play.
No,
Just
no, play.
That
Play.
was. Hold on. Yeah, this is a good question. Taranga says, I don't understand what they are disagreeing on. Is Aputa also saying he's an atheist, but disagreeing with Vimoh's definition of his own atheism? No, I think this was a Christian. But that's beside the point. I don't want to accuse people of doing things that they don't do. But I think this was.
also okay, you can explain how that is ridiculous.
Okay.
One second, just if you listen carefully to what he
No,
says.
I think this was a
first, yeah.
Christian. I think this was a Christian who was lying about being a Christian.
Now listen carefully here.
But that's beside the point. I don't want to accuse people of doing things that they did not do.
So he just accused someone of something, and now he says that he doesn't want to do so because they did not do the something. Like, I think he's just confused at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
no. This he
what is he even
immediately
saying?
realized it.
Exactly.
Immediately realized the gibberish he generated.
No, he
Aputa-
realized the gibberish he generated, but he didn't realize why it is gibberish. Like
like Aputa used the problem of evil, an argument against the Abrahamic gods, precisely the Christian one, most prominently used against the Christian one, and he's calling him a Christian.
Yeah. And also, like, he said that he doesn't want to accuse people of things, okay? And over the course of like the last bit, all he was saying that you're following a script, you're following a script, you're following a script. He wasn't making any arguments, he wasn't responding, he was just, you're following a script, you're following a script, you're following a script. Right?
yeah.
I mean,
Okay, should I
I
close?
take it as an accusation. I mean,
Wait, should I
can-
close the streaming?
you can, yeah.
I mean, you
Because-
can probably go like just as like an ending kind of thing. You can go to the SCP article and we can show them like there are 3 reasons that they have listed. You can go to the definition of atheism part, and there's like, oh yeah, scroll down a little bit more.
Hmm.
More.
Do you mean
Yeah,
for
this
the
way.
definition of
Yeah,
agnosticism?
over here it just says, therefore, for all
Oh.
3 of these reasons, philosophers ought to construe atheism as the proposition that God does not exist, or more broadly,
I think you can just link this in your
Yeah, you
description.
yeah. I'll
Yeah,
just
okay.
I'll link this particular article in the description. But basically, they have given 3 reasons why atheism should be construed as as believing the proposition that God does not exist, not the proposition that one lacks the belief in God. And like, there are pretty convincing reasons for that.
Yeah, but okay, so like,
Okay, so should I stop the stream now?
Yeah, you can stop the screen. Yeah.
okay, so does anyone have like an inference on why he thought that Aputa was Christian?
I mean, he's just trying to paint Aputa in a theist light or something, so
That is
that
a serious
his
answer.
viewers think that like
Yeah, yeah,
Abuta was
yeah.
LARPing or something.
No, I
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
Aputa's against agnosticism and atheism or something.
yeah, because I see, like, to be honest, I think he was uh actually, like, if some pre-supper came along and some pre-supper like Darth Dawkins or something like that, I think this guy would just get like demolished. And this I'm saying as someone who is not a theist. I say this as someone who is an atheist about Christian God. But when it
Not
comes to some,
really. He wouldn't get demolished. He would just pretend that he isn't getting demolished. I mean,
Yeah.
I
I
suppose he
mean,
would be getting demolished, but he would make it look to his brilliant, intelligent viewers
yeah,
and
if it happened on
donators that,
some sort of
yeah,
like neutral platform, right? Uh,
yeah,
then
then yeah,
he he'd probably just rage quit if someone like like if you've seen Darth Dawkins debate, that guy, like, you need to be on a different level of debating to just get that guy to not interrupt not interrupt you
mm,
and to like answer your questions. You have to be on a
Um,
different level of debate skill for that.
I mean, I think what happened was that like what he's used to, like I think he has talked to some presuppositional theists, which like yeah. So what happens is they talk about some things which are gibberish, and since you were talking to him using academically accepted terms, which he obviously hasn't read as demonstrated in this video, he thought this was also gibberish. Okay, so he saw those as gibberish, so he lifted, and then he thought that this guy is a theist, and because he's gibberating, yeah, so he's a Christian because he made the example of a Christian God. Also, you were wearing a very nice suit in the profile picture, so
So I'm like trying to convert him and all.
yeah.
Yes, yes, place.
Yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, yeah. Basically, like, again, I just want to make this very clear. If this like this thing, it didn't go as well because it was his stream, and I wanted to like I didn't want to get rudely kicked out. That's kind of why I like put up with it.
that was
But
understandable.
yeah, huh?
That was understandable. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
you,
why I was kind of putting up with it. But if if this debate happened on some neutral ground where he does not have mod powers, mute powers, things like that, then he is going to get demolished. And that's why, like, I'm just going to challenge him like straight on that he is like I challenge him to a debate about these things. I would much prefer to debate him on veganism, but I can do either proposition. So yeah, happy to debate you on some neutral platform where you don't have mod powers, and I'm happy to wreck you anytime. But I don't think he has the balls for it. I don't think that's happening. But
Oh,
anyway,
leave him. He's just a baby.
yeah, it would probably be child abuse if I did that.
bruh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much like kind of like sort of like a reaction to the debate that we had. Um, there are like plenty of things that we can go like if we just keep on nitpicking. There are plenty of things that we can mention, but maybe that's more fit for like a more elaborate video or anything, something like that. And it's
Yeah.
not like I've just like I'm coming up with something novel. All this stuff is already there in the literature, so you could just familiarize yourself with the philosophical literature on the subject, and yes, stop following idiots like him who haven't even heard of peer reviewed academic resources of philosophy, while being smug about like their view being like a philosophically valid position or anything like that. They have no idea what they're talking about. They just want you to think that they have like like very
deep expertise about these things, whereas it's actually the opposite. They don't know anything about it. Like Adish said, this guy probably thinks dialetheism is some religious position as opposed to being a logical one.
Yeah.